public record right now. You're
well, I didn't prepare to talk about fupas. I would have done more research and would have got the correct Webster dictionary.
It's just a way of saying that you're fat.
Definition.
So what does Susan have? Like a fupa plus? Like,
we all have fupas.
Oh,
sculptures and paintings.
What a good way to start off.
Yeah. You know, it's a good thing you and Robert don't, like, have the same like, you don't have his cell number, he doesn't have yours.
No.
Because he was on a freaking game today at the casino. Mm. Guess what the name of the fucking game was?
I have no idea.
King Panda.
All right.
Synchronicity.
I was roasting pandas almost the whole day.
Oh, yeah. See? Words, a word based on love spreads around, you know.
Yes.
That name came from love.
I love pandas. I think they're not endangered anymore. From what I recall. We have saved the panda species.
Anyway. Well, this got fucked up because, you know, this is on Tuesday. Saturday, we had a big celebration. Me and Salena went to Walmart and spent a big chunk of money on food. We had drinks.
Over $200 on food.
Yeah, we got some fucking alcohol and stuff. We wanted to celebrate a year of doing this shit. You know, I was hoping Al would show up and Jem was here and drinks were flowing. We had fucking Lewis here, Salena, Sue, and everybody was like, get ready to record and stuff. And boy, I fucked up. So.
Oh yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how things happen. Like, you know, you plan for things to turn out one way and they turn out another. So.
It was literally getting at the moment where you're like, wow, this is such a great night. What could go wrong?
Well,
and then
here's the issue with it is it wasn't even until that happened. But before that, this motherfucker freaking falls asleep.
Well, I did take power naps because, like, I told Mom and Salena, like, at one point, Mom's like, he disappeared a couple times. Selena's he disappeared. The thing is, some of us been up since 2 o'clock in the morning, okay? It's 8 o'clock at night. Even I have my limits. Like, I'm a little bit tired, but I want to take a quick 10-minute power nap. So it's like, you know, unlike everybody else who sleeps until 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, some of us, you know, have been awake all fucking...
You know,
yeah, not knowing that, I would have just...
See, it can't be me that you're talking to, considering I worked that entire fucking day before all of that shit.
I know. That's what I said. So I told Mom, I was like, Mom, I did take power naps because I was fucking tired. Like, because my work schedule was so bonkers. I don't have the same schedule. Every day it's a different day of work. And everyone knows, too, with my breaks, I love having 2-minute breaks, you know, and 5-minute lunches. It's fantastic. It's funny that even in prison, they literally give us more time to eat breakfast and lunch in prison than my job gives me.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And actually, in jail, I got better bathroom breaks, too, than my job. So.
That's true.
Yeah, I thought the barbecue was nice, though.
Well, so initially,
you being weird / tired
so
weird.
there was supposed to be 6 or 7 of us recording, and everything got fucked up because of some people, and so now we just kind of like, this is like, you know, hey, I'm glad a year has passed by, and you know, I don't have. It's funny how I started off with me, Junior, and Al. Now I got like me, Salena, Sue, and Lewis here instead of like the 3 guys that started it, but Al. Again, I tried getting a hold of him, and Junior's doing his YouTube thing, and like that's why I've said like sometimes 2 weeks goes by or 2.5 weeks. Hey, you haven't put someone would say on Facebook you haven't put up a new episode. I'm like, well, I can't get a hold of people. Like I wanted Brian to come down, he couldn't. Jennifer's doing something. Elliot's busy. Like everybody's doing something. Yeah. So you know that
can happen in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope like Junior doesn't feel weird though about me being on the pod. I feel like he would feel like I would personally be replacing him because me and Junior got into a quarrel. Or Will. I guess I'll call him Will now. I think I got demoted.
Where this podcast is concerned. Now, I'm not gonna shit on anyone in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not shitting on him even. But you can't sit there and make comments like, I've been coming down here, and no one's showing up. I have other responsibilities in my life that I'm putting off. And then, you know, making comments like that. But how many weeks in a row were we set to do the podcast?
Yeah.
All here, all ready to go. Where's Junior?
Yeah, exactly. I fell asleep. I was like, fell asleep? Dude, you woke up 1 p.m.
Okay.
But that's my fucking premise is like, you know, I've said, anybody, well, like I asked you about our cousin Laura. I want Laura to come down. Al said he's got friends who want to come down. I keep telling people, anybody is allowed to come down here.
See, the problem
get in contact with me.
The problem is, though, too, when it comes to, like, okay, taking Laura, for example. Laura has 2 kids. Laura is a single mother. She's on her own with those 2 kids. she can't just like pick up, come down here and be like, "Hey guys, what's up?"
Well, that's the premise. I'm just saying is like Laura is allowed to come down whenever she wants to come down.
She can come down. She definitely could. She knows that she could. It's just if Laura's coming, she has to like plan it right, bring the kids with her probably, and if not, have to like leave them with Uncle Mark and Aunt Karen.
Babysitter.
Yeah, so that's been the entire premise. Like this is supposed to be all of us. Like I'm drinking Jack Apple with Coke Zero Cherry. Susan, what do you got?
Amethyst Sunset wine from the Adirondack Winery.
Was that the wine you were drinking at the barbecue?
Yes,
that is tasty.
You want to try glass?
I mean, if Susan would be gracious enough to want to share it, I don't blame her.
This smack.
The disdain.
Well, honey, do you want Jack Apple?
Oh yeah, I'll try whatever. I don't really need to drink that much.
Selena, for you, I will. If it were like one of the guys asking, I'd be like, no.
Yay, sexism.
You have to help her fupa out.
Yes, I have.
No, but in my defense, I would have came down here whether Junior was going to be here or not. I don't have any like malice feelings towards him. No, I mean, I was mad in that moment, and I made my peace in that moment.
Is like he held a grudge over the fact that no one was showing up for the podcast and saying like, "Okay, I'm tired. I don't want to like go down for the podcast," or like, "I can't make it because of."
Whatever
personal reasons or life experiences or whatever. And now
you want to get the wine?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You wear headphones too.
Hold on, yeah. I'm new. Are these glasses clean?
Yes, they're clean.
It's Chris. You
put worse shit in your mouth. Trust me.
You're an ass.
I didn't even hear him. I'm learning to
like tune it out.
Just don't have her fuck with the Kraken.
Yeah, don't touch the Kraken.
Oh my god.
Just, you worry about how dirty those glasses are. You know things. Anyway.
What's so funny is like from what I remember, is like I felt fine. I felt.
Oh wait, was that your first night?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
She like drank the Kraken.
I drank a lot of Kraken.
She drank the Kraken, all right, and boy, the Kraken went out.
I completely forgot she drank the freaking Kraken.
She almost drank more than me. You see the size difference between us? Like I'm twice her fucking weight. Like no.
Wait, was this the same night that Elliot was pirate walking home?
Yes.
Oh, because I raged, whatever.
No, Ellie did get mad for a couple minutes up because Selena did. At one point she blacked out and she went on to this. When you go back and listen to it, it's fucking comedy gold.
I haven't made it to that episode yet. I think I'm on like episode 4.
Because like you're here at one point, I go through it, Al goes through it, Ellie and Junior, all four of us at some point, we can't get a syllable out, and she just keeps going and going and interrupting and going and going.
Well, I'm on those episodes too. I just met you guys.
I know, but I
was so excited.
It's hilarious.
By talking so
See, it was funny though because I made the statement that night. Like Selena became like my new best friend because we were like, we hit it off like right away.
It was like girls versus guys.
What the hell? What's this nasty animal doing here?
He is not a nasty animal.
God.
He is a part of this family.
He stinks. God.
He's saying hi.
Oh, well, that's saying a lot since you love washing and taking showers with the dog, Chris.
Oh.
Yeah. Chris had a whole conversation with us in the car.
I have no regrets.
He loves talking about it. Like, I just go in, I leave the door open. And
like he made the statement to his mom one time. He's like, well, you're mean to him. That's why he won't do it for you. It's like the dog sleeps with her, gets depressed when she's not here, but yet she's mean to him.
The best shower buddy I ever had was that fucking dog, okay?
Yeah.
He makes me feel good about myself.
Come here, Bubba. Come here, Bubba.
Anyway. But no, yeah, that was first night she had the Kraken. No, it's like when you look back on things, like we've said for the past year, even when I listen to old episodes of myself, it is like, I talk about this with Howard Stern's been on radio for 40 years now. Joe Rogan's been podcasting for 12 years. Mm-hmm. And they even freaking say, Joe is like, he's like, I can't listen to my old podcast episodes because he's like, I hear how I've changed over the past decade and what I sounded like and how fucking bad I sounded.
Oh, no.
And even Howard says the same thing. Howard's like, he can't listen to old episodes because he goes, because your own worst critic is yourself. So I've said.
I think that's basically anyone, though. And it's not just people who have done like radio or podcasts or stuff.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, obviously, I think I've like touched base on this a million times. I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I've read like certain guys, their memoirs when they're like writing their books and shit over like their careers.
Right.
Goldust made one, and like, he made a very valid point. He's like, I can't go back and watch my old matches because I'll sit there and I'll pick it apart and I'll be like, I could have done this better. This is why I never got to this point in my career. This is why I never did this. This is why I never did that. He's like, and I was like that for a very long time where I'd watch it and that's all I do. He's like, but then finally I just was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I killing myself rewatching shit? The fans didn't care. The fans enjoyed it. I'm tortured by it.
Yeah, it's like replaying your mistakes over and over and over again, and you have video footage.
And like,
so like, this is different. You can actually hear yourself now. Like I told you, everyone knows how fast I speak, and sometimes I may trip over certain words, especially when I get too much to drink. I've noticed too. I'm like, damn. I was like, I can't believe I said the word fuck like 200 times in a given afternoon. But like, when the moment's happening, you don't realize it's happening because drinks are flowing, everyone's having fun, everyone's laughing and shit. Then you look back and you're like,
fuck this, fuck that, fuck this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Fuck.
But no, even what Selena, like just like Lewis and like you, the more she's been on here, the more you can tell it's easier to talk. It's like anything. And Joe said that.
Yeah, you loosen up a lot more.
Different people have asked Joe about his comedy or his podcast. I said, Joe, what's been your secret to success and how do you feel podcasting? He goes, honestly, just doing it. He's like, I look forward to recording a podcast. And he goes, like anything, the more I do it, the better I get at it. And that's all it is. So like, I definitely, looking back on a year off, if you listen to Chris in episode 1 versus Chris in episode, we're on 57, like it's not even a comparison of how much I've evolved as just talking. Like even Salena would say, which not even just her though, it makes you self-conscious because I hate compliments, but like I've had lots of people say like, you have a very good speaking voice and you have a good podcasting voice and we like the way you speak, and I'm like, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I thought.
I don't hear it though.
The thing that I find hysterical, like when I'm listening to the old podcast, is going back and listening to the first time I was on, which was episode 2. I'm sitting there and I'm like, you can hear the silence in between every single solitary word. And I'm like, wow, did it really take me that long to get a sentence out?
Yeah.
Did it really take that long to have that conversation? And it's like, all you hear is like deafening silence. And I'm like, did he do this on purpose? Like, did he go click, 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 click every time I'd say a word? Or is it just me? Because it was my first podcast and I was extremely nervous.
Yeah, I was nervous too. But then when you're drinking and you get caught up in the conversations, you just forget.
We said this before. I said, like, well, for me, the first time you were here, I'm like, listen, it's like, I still will always have this, like, ugly guy, rejected guy kind of revenge thing. So when I see, I mean, a girl like Salena, who's
revenge,
because I've been rejected by girls who look like you my entire life. So women who look like you have treated me like shit my entire life. So I'm just saying, like, no, when you see a girl who's that good looking make a total ass out of herself, it's kind of like, thank you God for karma kicking in.
It's like hysterical bullshit. Well, it's the same thing as like what would happen with me or with Jen or with anyone. Yeah. It'd be like, yeah, we've all made asses out of ourselves. Yes. Guess what? So have you.
Yeah,
and it's like we have,
especially Jen. When Jen has blacked out entire conversations we've had on this podcast, and I'm like, it is
Jen
fucking
goes
awesome.
From being Jen to Genesee.
Dude, Jen is amazing. I don't know how she has all this energy, but she was like running on no sleep from the barbecue, and then just invited us to go kayaking. We kayak and it does.
Because
at least an hour. And
we're talking about different things right now, but it does make me still to this point, no matter what happens between you and me, the fact that the women in my life, whether it's Susan or my mother or my sister, they all do like you, and it makes me comforting the fact that if you have stuff bothering you, Jennifer will understand you, Susan understands you, Mom understands you, and you want to keep that balance, because if my entire family fucking hated you, that'd be a problem. Like going through it now on the side.
Well, knowing them, it'd probably be apparent too. So
yeah, well, that's the thing too. Oh, trust me, no. If Susan or Jen didn't like you, you'd know it. It wouldn't even be fucking.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of the first times I hung out with your sister Jamie, she was drunk, so she was already in happy mode from what people describe her drunkenness.
Oh, dude, Jamie is the best person to hang out with when you want to drink.
Yes,
because Jamie's sober, you'd never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And I say that lovingly because I adore the shit out of Jamie. I adore the shit out of Jen, too.
Yeah.
Kaya is forever my first baby.
No.
Freaking Chris, But.
Very much.
But the girls, love them to death. And I say that kidding, Chris. I adore you.
Sure.
Yeah. You gave me Christian.
Exactly. I'm good for something.
Yeah.
It took me
You gave the world Christian.
It took me 30 seconds to create him, so. People say like, how fast does it take you to create a life? I'm like, hold my beer, like.
But no, Jamie is hysterical because there are the days she'll come in and she'll be like, "Hey, how's it going? What's up? What's new with you?" Then there are days it's like, "Hey, Jamie."
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one of them days.
Yeah. Well, so initially I just wanted to have like basically like almost a year in review, which has been kind of hard because it's like I started this with 2 people that aren't fucking here. So I guess
you and I could technically do a year in review. I've been on almost all of them.
But I still want I wanted to ask everybody from Salena to Lewis just about basically the past year. Like I'll go first. Like what I think just like the point of making this podcast was initially to have Junior and Al, and eventually like you and Salena came along later, and Lewis. But anybody is a friend of mine recently asked like, what's the point of making this podcast? Because like, there's a billion. There's like motivational podcasts, there's fitness podcasts, there's comedy podcasts. Like, what is the category of what you do? And I would just say, someone said like, did you make it during COVID? I'm like, yeah. I said my motivation was during COVID. When I'm seeing this was initially why we started this shit for was that like my friend and Jamie's friend Jennifer's friend Marie, who went to high school with us, and she joined the military. She's a fucking badass. She's a Marine. She had shrapnel lodged into her chest. She's had it fucking taken out. The girl's a fucking war hero. And during COVID,
Iron Woman,
the peak, she really is, and she's a lesbian, so she's hot and everything. So she's a hot lesbian. She could whoop my ass.
It's always the hot lesbians, Chris.
And I make her laugh so much because it's me, and it's like she's like Chris, and she's like I love having conversation with you because you make me laugh because like you're genuine, like you're a good person, and the point she was kind of motivation. I told her this shit. I was like, Marie, anytime you listen to my podcast, you're more than welcome to, but I'm like you were part of my motivation because what was killing me is like. Now, to people like Salena or anybody else out there, that unemployment was kicking in. My friend Mike wants to come down here, and his wife was making more money than him on unemployment. Good for him and good for her because he's like, I'm not bad, dude. My wife's making more money than me. It's helping raise our fucking kids. Yeah. But when I'm seeing a person like Marie, no matter what you feel about fucking COVID, the fact that it has killed people, and she's a nurse down in New York City. Now, these nurses like her, now this isn't fucking like some little small hick town. This isn't like, bumfuck Alabama. Mm-hmm. This is New York City, which is proven to be the epicenter of America in terms of COVID cases. So she's going to fucking work every single day and watching people die every single fucking day. She's like, Chris, I'm like, I'd walk into work. There's 10 patients on my wing. I clock out of work, there's 5 patients, and this is every fucking day to the point where she's holding ventilators and tubes down people's fucking throats, and she's like basically sucking out. She's like, it looks like fucking Coca-Cola, out of people's lungs. And no matter what you do, COVID was still fresh. She's like, there's nothing you can do but watch these people fucking die, and that tears a person apart who's working. And she's working. She's not working 9 to 5. She's not working 10 to 6. No, she's working 17, 18 fucking hour days. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this fucking poor girl tell me how much she makes. And it just sickens me to my core that a person like her who's literally been to fucking overseas, who sacrificed.
How much did she make?
I mean, not much more than me. Oh, considering she was a nurse during Ground Zero. It's like, I'm just saying she's not making anywhere. She's not making $100,000 a year by any fucking means. Yeah. And I'm not saying every nurse deserves to make $1 million a year. What I'm saying
is, it's sad that these are the people that are the essential workers.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said, like, myself, I mean, I perform an essential service, not to her level, but I was an essential worker. I worked, this. I never stopped working during COVID.
You did?
Big Al didn't stop working during COVID.
Nope.
And there's millions of people, whether it's hospital workers or grocery store clerks or just there's
pharmacists.
Millions and millions and millions of people that are essential fucking workers.
Yeah.
And I've never shit on OnlyFans or the premise of fucking Twitch or porn stars or whatever. I'm just saying, as a premise, the fact that some girl can take her fucking shirt off and make more in a day on OnlyFans than a nurse can make in 6 months who's fucking working 19-hour days, I don't respect that. Because, like, in terms of productivity, I'm not saying good for you. If you're a hot chick and you want to make fucking money, understandable. But don't act like your work ethic is the same thing as that fucking nurse who's fucking living off of 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah, something as noble as a nurse.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't knock, like, sex workers and stuff.
And by any means, I'm not saying sex workers have it fucking easy. There's no amount of dollar sign you could fucking pay me to, like, be on camera and, like, spread my legs and put a dildo up my butt.
But, yeah, they're definitely not saving no lives by
I'm not saying they shouldn't fucking make money. What I'm saying is, like, I don't like the imbalance of, like, so why do we glamorize people? Like I mentioned them a billion fucking times. I'll never stop mentioning them, the Kardashians. The fact that the Kardashians are role models and teachers and doctors and fucking people that matter aren't. It's like I said, little girls get raised by Cardi fucking B, but how many kids remember their 2nd or 3rd grade English teacher? Yeah. And that's a society we live in now. And it makes me fucking sad that there's so many people out there that are living paycheck to fucking paycheck. There's mothers. I actually just showed Salena this yesterday. Remember, Susan? We did the article where it's like Cuomo just passed the fucking high-speed internet law because so many parents can't even give their fucking kids $50 Wi-Fi and shit. Yeah. There's so many people that are just right now struggling. More jobs are being fucking lost. More food banks are opening up. More unemployment's going through the roof. But yet, again, like Bella Thorne makes OnlyFans and makes $6 million in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying.
It's $2 million.
2 million, okay. Well, no, was the fucking the bad.
I know this.
the bad Barbie chick, wasn't it? The bad Barbie chick, the
Bad Baby.
Didn't she make $6 million in an hour or some shit?
When she created her
No.
OnlyFans when she turned 18.
Hold up.
I didn't even know that.
I'll put this second.
She turned 18. She got like over
Danielle
half a
Bergoli girl?
Yes.
yeah, like half a million
Dude,
followers.
She just set a fucking a record on OnlyFans.
Don't get me wrong, I feel for her. I understand that, like, whatever, she became a meme and she just utilized, like, being a laughing stock at 14 years old to make a good career. And
Catch me outside. How about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, now that she's older and she's speaking out about the abuse at that, I forget, like, that children's rehabilitation place that Dr. Phil sends them to.
Yeah.
But what I, like, remember, too, is the whole reason why she was on Dr. Phil in the first place is because she almost killed a girl.
Yeah.
No, she almost killed a girl who had, like, a brain injury that if something were to happen to her head, she would die. Or she would suffer serious damages.
Real
And she
quick,
tried jumping her over some little stuff.
this was the actual article. Okay, she had 18 years old, right? She made OnlyFans within 6 hours. 6 hours, she made over $1 million in 6 fucking hours. And I'm just saying, the premise is somebody, you, me, Lewis, and Susan, you can start a job at 18 years old and retire at 70, and you still won't gross a fucking $1 million.
Yeah.
Right.
And that as a premise, I want to anybody to, again, after a year doing this shit, explain to me by any means how a girl in 6 fucking hours can make what you won't make in your fucking lifetime.
I guess perversion.
You know, I'm just saying, but this is like, instead, I'm not
Perversion publicized
I'm not
in
a
the
pure
best way.
Big Al said this. I don't fully believe in capitalism. I don't fully believe in socialism. I don't fully believe in communism. But all these by themselves, obviously, capitalism is creating this welfare state and this fucking gap where we're seeing every year, we're seeing more and more billionaires, more and more. Like 2020 had record-breaking new billionaires and also record-breaking more people in fucking poverty. Yeah. That's capitalism. We did this article not too long ago where they actually broke down the top 100 people in the world as their net worth is literally worth more than half the human race. Like, not half the country. No, it's half of our species. 100 fucking people, their net worth is worth more than 4 billion fucking people combined.
Yeah,
if that's not an imbalance, what the fuck is?
I like to think that there is a healthy way to utilize capitalism. I think how capitalism is now is very unfair.
Yeah.
But how I see capitalism is like
There you go.
universal currency.
Yeah.
You know, like apples and oranges. If we can't trade apples and oranges because you already have oranges, we have a universal currency, so I can still buy your apples. And I feel like that was kind of the idea of capitalism, is a universal currency, but it definitely been abused.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything we do as a premise, it winds up getting bastardized, mutated to the point where now it's become like you can say Black Lives Matter, for example. As a core, of course, you want to see black people fucking get justice. You want to see black people not get discriminated against. At its core, time passes. Now you turn it into like you've done $1 trillion worth of fucking property damage. You've cost you've cost thousands of lives. You've cost hundreds of thousands of fucking businesses. The premise of what you created was beautiful. But then look what it turned into. We've seen feminism and shit, and feminism and Me Too. Me Too started off as a beautiful thing. In Hollywood, there were women getting abused. There were women getting unfairly treated. Now it turns into, but now it's so hardcore where it's like all a girl has to do is sneeze in your direction, and all of a sudden you're put in jail because of Me Too. It's like, hold up, like
now it's a rat race for this universal currency, and it's also scientifically proven that we pay more attention to negative things and positive things. We're more going to look at a train crash more than like a beautiful butterfly in the wilderness.
Yeah. I believe that.
So when you know that, it's the media's always going to be designed to be negative based and to feed fear on purpose, because they do want money and they do want screen time.
But here's the thing, that is mainly an American thing. You go to a country like India, like a horrible freaking car accident can happen, they don't stop moving. They continue working. They continue doing whatever they need to do.
Which that's scary, because Joe Rogan talked about that recently. Not recently, on one podcast. He goes, you'll see a video of somebody, like there was a toddler walking across the street, a baby like 2 years old, and a fucking guy literally ran it over. A guy ran over a fucking baby, got out of his car, looked down, got back in his car and drove away like nothing happened.
Yeah.
He's like, that becomes a point of desensitizing,
Yeah.
and we've become as a species. That's why people debate about, argue
That's
about.
scary. That freaking breaks my heart. That's
and Joe was dead serious about this shit though. But that right there wonders though. That raises the more question of overpopulation. See, thing like anything, like if you live in a small town, right? Okay, no crime happens, nothing goes on. A murder happens, the whole fucking town flips out because one murder happened this year. Holy shit! Go down New York City where fucking someone's killed every goddamn 5 minutes. Now you just become so used to it, it doesn't even faze you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a scary fucking state for our humanity and our evolution as a species, where it's like you keep seeing this shit. It's
that's basically what Albany's becoming. Is like how much crime is actually happening here on a regular basis, and we're so used to hearing about it on the news, or we're so used to hearing about how many people on the radio have been killed over like the weekend of the summer, and like it's just so. And like from the moment summer hits until the moment summer ends, the amount of shootings, stabbings, death, fights, all this different bullshit that's going to happen, and you know that it's going to happen, and it's like you're dreading it for so many different freaking reasons.
Yeah.
Well, I can 100% say, like, I wish more people, our podcast is small, but, like, I know for me this summer, I'm doing two things. I'm going to work, I'm going to hit the gym, and come right the fuck home. And I'm not leaving this house all summer. And unfortunately, a lot of neighborhoods, people are like that. You are stuck in your house, but, like, what do you do? Once dusk hits and 7 o'clock comes, I'm not hitting any corner stores around here. No, I'm good. No, I'm all right.
The day of my birthday party, when they came home, Kaya's ex-boyfriend, the kid she was dating at the time.
Okay.
He walked around the corner to, like, grab something to drink, grab, like, pack of cigarettes for your mom or something. He went around the freaking corner. 5 seconds before he went, someone was stabbed.
Yeah.
And he came back to the house afterwards. He told them what happened. They're like, if you had gone 5 seconds earlier,
it could have been him.
It could have been you. And he's like, I know.
Yeah, like we had it like not too long ago. Like you and me were in County Center. Your phone went off when my mom's old apartment was right there in Washington Avenue, right around the corner from the corner store, right at the fucking what was it? Right across from that the one body shop there. But it's two blocks down the road. My sister Jen came down, and also my Aunt Terry from the reservation.
Jen was staying with us at the time.
Yeah, and like literally, it was just Terry and Jen having a friggin' beer, sitting outside talking on their front porch, just talking.
Plus,
bullshit.
your mom and Madhu were out there too.
At the time, Mom and Madhu were inside the house.
No, everyone was outside.
No, they were inside the house. I'm saying because okay, so this guy walks up and pulls a gun on Terry with Mom and Madhu watching it.
Yeah. Because he pulled it also with Jen, and Luca got off the freaking porch.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But like the story I was told is that Mom and Dad were inside the house, and that this guy walks up to fucking Terry and Jennifer and pulls out a fucking gun.
He put it to Terry's head.
Yeah,
and that's because they didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah. Well, but I was told that Mom was inside the house.
What the hell?
So anyway, but it was the fuck point that like literally just this was like 7 o'clock at night. People sitting around having a fucking beer. Guy walks up to them, pulls a gun out to my aunt, puts a gun to her fucking head, and wants her purse. 7 o'clock at night. And just out there just fuck having a beer.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's a damn shame. I'm so glad I don't live in Albany anymore, though.
But like when Junior was here last time, Junior did make a valid point though, because the thing is, people in this country now have become so desensitized where it's like if it doesn't happen to me or my kids, I don't give a fuck. And that's one thing. The past year doing this podcast, I read news stories all the damn time about more businesses being shut down, more kids being killed, more fuck people on unemployment, more people starving. And the thing is, people on social media, well, who gives a shit? Or like I've said before,
oh yeah, they don't care.
I've seen a GoFundMe. I've seen coworkers. Woman starts a GoFundMe. She was fucking battling stage fucking 3 cancer. She lost 6 months off work. She lost 100 fucking pounds in chemo. She's battling to fucking survive. They started GoFundMe at work. If she can get $1,000 raised, that'd be a miracle in itself, But then some asshole puts fucking glue in her hair. With Gorilla Glue and gets fucking $2 million fucking dollars or some shit, and you're like, really? But so some asshole puts glue in their hair on purpose, and they get a fucking GoFundMe for like 20 fucking grand. A woman who's battling cancer and can't work anymore can't get $100 fucking dollars. I said this about Salena not too long ago. Selena's fucking birthday came up, and one thing that's big with Salena is suicide prevention. Suicide means a lot to Salena, the kind of person she is. She will have, I'm just gonna throw out a number, she can have 1,500, 2,000 fucking Facebook friends. She goes, hey guys, for my birthday, I don't want anything. What I would like is to donate to a good fucking cause, How much money can I raise? I see myself, then I'll throw in $5 here. Another week passed by, I'll throw $5 in here. Selena's GoFundMe for suicide prevention is up for like 2 weeks, out of 1,500 fucking friends, one person donated to her cause.
Yeah, you just
one person.
I
me.
honestly never made any money sharing those on my birthday. I mean, I usually forget, but that was just a year I remembered, and I'm glad I did because I got one donation.
Yeah, but that's the premise I'm talking about. But now if you made a GoFundMe, hey guys, this is Salena, I'm gonna take my top off. How much money could you fucking made off taking her top off?
I don't know.
You know, what? As a premise, though,
I donated to suicide prevention though. If I did, but
that's what I'm saying. But people, it's like, they're so busy to donate to stupid shit. Like, some guy eats Tide Pods. He wants to go fund me because he had to get a stomach pumped. He'll get like $20,000 for eating Tide Pods. But if someone wants to do it to suicide prevention or starving children, they can't get $5.
Yeah.
And that after a year, that shit saddens you. It's like, people won't donate to the things that fucking matter. I shit on Twitch all the time. I'm just saying as a fucking premise. I play video games. Actually, all four of us do. So Selena's fucking played Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. You have Susan. I have an Xbox. Lou does. You play Resident Evil Village. I love you, dude. But if you say, Chris, come over, watch me play Resident Evil 8. No problem, dude. But Chris, before you come over, give me $20. So you can watch me play a video game. I would say, dude, I love you. Go fuck yourself.
That's Twitch.
And the Twitch is like, I would say, like, well, Salena was watching Christian play Resident Evil 7, and we did it for fun. We had some drinks watching my son play Resident Evil 7. When 8 comes out, when I get some more, I'll buy 8. But, like, I'm not going to, like, why am I going to buy a game and then pay you to fucking play it? Why watch you play the game that I already fucking bought?
Right.
It's like me saying, like, hey, I'm going to go buy a pizza, give it to Susan. Susan, before you eat this pizza, let me give you some money, and I'll buy you pizza, and just eat it in front of me, and I'm going to watch you eat the pizza, because it looks so goddamn delicious.
I've been on Twitch
I'll do that.
few times.
Yeah.
And I actually find it amusing. It's more than just like watching
You better
people
give a
play
slice.
video games.
I mean, I'm getting pizza and paid.
But the biggest people, though, are the ones playing video games.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, my favorite streamer on Twitch is Sweet Anita. She has Tourette's and stuff, and it's just very just amusing. And she's also a wholesome person in general, so
yeah,
it's like funny mixed with wholesomeness.
So,
mixed with Tourette's awareness.
I don't know if you're aware of like how Christian introduced himself to Lou.
No. Oh, I think it did. Yeah.
Let me hear the love story behind this bromance.
Freaking thing.
I'll let you tell it, Sue.
So Lou's sitting there. He walks over. I say hi. He introduces himself. You go to introduce yourself to like Chris and to like Elliot and whatever. No, wait, you've met Elliot, so
yes,
whatever. But to go and introduce yourself to the other Chris. Christian comes walking over, sticks his hand out to shake Lou's hand. He's like, "Hi, I'm my dad's son, Christian."
This guy's got manners.
Key thing. I'm my dad's son. I looked at Christian. I'm like, Christian, who's your dad? He's like, you know who my dad is. I'm like, I do. Does he? He's like, oh, I'm Chris's son.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so you guys didn't meet yet?
Then I had to correct
not until
him.
that day.
Christian.
So
was
Lou, being an asshole, walks over, shakes Chris's hand. He's like, "Hi, I'm my dad's son, Lou. Chris. Hi, I'm my dad's son, Chris." I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm my dad's daughter, Susan."
Yeah. I love my son, but yeah.
Cutest thing in the world.
Yeah.
He started it.
He's a sweetheart.
It was so cute.
Well, like I told Salena before coming down here, I read more stuff about Fauci and COVID. All I can say is, guys, is like we started this shit a year ago. Economy was crumbling. COVID was fucking rampant. A year later, COVID's still here. We're still all wearing fucking masks. Literally every single week I hear about wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. After a year of this shit, I have no more information or any idea what's going on with COVID than I did 12 fucking months ago. I'm still just as clueless. I just know that a year later, I'm still just as broke. I'm drinking more, and COVID's fucking still here. And from what I've seen, I'm just going to keep drinking, laughing, and that's all I can do because it's like all this shit is going on, and like there's nothing we can fucking do. We can keep working ourselves to the fucking bone. The economy is screwed up. Like, more jobs have been lost, whether it's from regulations, a minimum wage going up. They're hiring more fucking robotic workers. Like even like Pizza Hut and Domino's. They're literally having more driverless fucking cars, which means that's less delivery drivers. Uber right now, well, it's going to be a thing in the fucking past. It's going to be Uber. A robot will fucking pick you up, and there's no driver to tip anymore. So I even said after a year and 5 years going forward, I don't know what people are going to fucking do for income anymore. My job right now, currently, I have job security. Will my job be here in 50 years? Probably fucking not. But by the time I retire, I'll be upset. But like driving jobs, labor jobs, I don't know anymore what it's technology is scaring the shit out of me, because the better technology we get, the more jobs we fucking lose. And it does make you wonder about the whole, I try not to get too much in conspiracy theories, but it does make you wonder about the government pushing socialism, only in the sense that like pushing socialism would be like, hey guys, here's a check for $2,000 a month, live off that, and that's all you get, because there's no jobs any fucking more. And like, I just know for myself that like having to go to work every day, having something to do drives you to want to do something. When you have nothing going on but to sit around all day and watch TV and shit, after a time period, it does kind of like kill your just like desires, your motivations, your aspirations.
Your energy.
It just kills like it's like, what's the point of like, if I just wake up every day and just sit home all day and watch TV? After 5 years of that shit, you're gonna want to fucking kill yourself, because you're like I have nothing to do, I have no job, I have nothing to aspire for. Why should you for when everything's gone? It's like,
I mean, I think you can still challenge yourself and live a fulfilling life without needing to work a 9 to 5. I mean, I know if that's all you have to work with, it's all you have to work with. But I also feel like we live in a country of entrepreneurship, and it's easy to make, people like risk their lives and sometimes die trying to get here for a better life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you can still challenge yourself and live a fulfilling life without a 9 to 5. Although I think it's still a good experience that everyone should like partake in.
Well, you said entrepreneurship. It's like not 9 to 5, but just saying like you have something like if you open your own business, okay? Open like just when people need something, like it's like if you don't want to work anymore, understand like if you hit. I've met so many fucking people that would say if I hit the Powerball, I would still work because I would need a purpose. People for the most part need a purpose. This is why we said during COVID, Japan was literally having record-breaking suicides, because these people with we've seen fucking Japan. They have one apartment and like 600 people one apartment. They're on COVID during lockdown. All their money's being handed to them, but they can't go anywhere. They can't go to the grocery store. No, groceries are brought to you. Can I go see a movie? No. Movies are on fucking Netflix. Can I go out to the park? No, all the parks are shut down. So like, it's essentially the closest thing to, in fact, when I was in prison, I had more rec time than people in Japan were having during fucking COVID. So your whole life is a 4x8 fucking room, and you're never going to leave. And at least with work, it gave them something to do, something to go for. When your whole life is in a fucking apartment and you have left your apartment for 2 or 3 years, it's Japan, no bullshit. At one point, they were having more suicides than COVID deaths. That's how fucking bad their citizens were getting. And that's a scary fucking thought. Imagine being 20 years old thinking, I'm 20 and the rest of my life, I'm never going to do a thing besides be stuck in this apartment and work a shitty 9 to 5 job. It drives you fucking
And their apartments are very, very small.
Yes, they are.
It's like minimalism. Yeah. Like you think they just are all minimal.
Yeah. No, I think most people do want the premise of never working again to aspire to something. But I'm saying is like, if at a young age, if you're, say, Christian, if he comes 18 years old, hey, here's socialism, guys. For the rest of your life, Christian, here's a check for $2,000 a month, and that's all you're ever going to fucking do. Now, if you have no goals to go to college, to fucking work a job, to like want to open a business, it's a scary line of like, how many aspirations does a person have? It's like,
true.
I don't know. It's like we still at some point, and you become a singer, you become an athlete, you open your own business, but all these things that people fucking do, they do it in a pursuit of money. That's why they do it for, Take away the pursuit of money, and like, then what do we have anymore? I mean, that's why we're all doing this shit. Everybody. It's like, because I still laugh about it. I've said this on this podcast. Anybody explain to me, why is all these rappers and these basketball players, NFL stars, you've been in the NBA for 20 years, right? You're making $30 million fucking dollars a year. Why not take a year off? Why not? How about Kobe or LeBron? How about LeBron? Why don't you play 1 year for free? I mean, you're worth $800 fucking million.
Yeah, not Kobe.
Sorry, well, even Kobe back in the day. Kobe's endorsements though, like, or Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a billionaire. Like, dude, you're worth $1 billion fucking dollars. You can't tell me you can't play 1 year for free.
There is conflict of interest involved. I heard of that because Jim Carrey ended up doing a movie for free, and he got in huge trouble because there's a lot of money, like. Directors and producers spend a lot of friggin' money to get Jim Carrey to do their movies.
Yeah.
So they're like, you're going to do a free movie for this nobody when I had to spend millions of dollars to get you on mine. How about you do a free movie for me next? So it's kind of a conflict of interest. If they say yes to one thing, then they're going to have the pressure of saying yes to more things, and then you're completely being taken advantage of in that circumstance.
Same thing with Johnny Depp. Think about it. Like, Johnny Depp went and did, like, what was it, Tusk and Yoga Hosers with Kevin Smith?
Yeah.
And shit. And, like, Kevin is pretty well known. He still made money on the movie, but of course, it's Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And, like, even though we love Kevin, we know Kevin's not grossing, like...
hundreds of millions of dollars.
For his movies.
That's the problem, though. But see, Johnny did the movie for free, and no one cared.
Yeah.
So it's like Hollywood's kind of a different beast with
but
that. Like,
they could also say, too, like, part of the reason he did it was because his daughter was in the movie.
well, I would say, like, obviously, it depends on, there's Hollywood, to what Salena was saying, it's a different beast in the sense that, like, when Johnny Depp does Pirates of the Caribbean, it costs $300 million to make Pirates of the Caribbean, if like, Chris Hemsworth, for example, he did a quick cameo in Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah.
He even said, he's like, Kevin called me, he goes, dude, I'll do it for free. Now if he plays Thor's going to pay him $20 million fucking dollars.
But that's contracts and everything with Marvel.
That's what I'm saying. But like,
Right.
but obviously, but if Chris Hemsworth does like a low budget film, like he's getting paid like $1,000 because he's doing it because he wants to. Obviously, fucking if Thor calls him, Marvel says, Chris, we're gonna do fucking like the new Hulk Hogan biopic. He's gonna get paid some serious fucking money for that. That's a different fucking beast.
Wait, is he playing Hulk Hogan in that?
I told you, like, no, they show. He's like, he just turned 40 years old. He goes, this is the best shape I've been in my. This is the best. I've never even been this kind of shape for Thor. He goes, this is the biggest I've ever been in my lifetime to be Hulk Hogan. Oh. He has the size and obviously the height. He showed a picture on Instagram, him pushing a tire. The guy's arms are like he's damn near Hulk Hogan's fucking size. So, but the point is, I'm saying is like if Chris Hemsworth signs up for a Marvel film in Disney, they're going to pay him $30 million fucking dollars. If he's signing up for some low budget heist film, they're not going to pay him that kind of money and shit. Mm-hmm. So I understand what Salena was saying. I would just say that whether it's like Jim Carrey or just anybody, I keep hearing about all these people that are making hundreds of millions of fucking dollars a year. And it's like, we care about the average people and the average fucking Joe, and we care so much. And I'm like, dude, you're worth $1 billion, man. Like, take a year off.
Yeah.
Like, man, I would take a year off today if I could. If I could financially afford it, I'd take a year off work. I can't. But
we all.
What I've seen so far in my lifetime and damn sure the past year with COVID and everything going on, I just don't understand how, like, people, you keep reading like the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezos and all these different Bill Gates and shit, like, them, it's just like, these are numbers that, like we've said, the four of us here cannot spend $1 billion in our lifetimes combined. There's no way in hell you can give me, I couldn't spend $1 billion in this lifetime. I wouldn't know what to do. I besides what, buy a tiger, buy an elephant or some shit, buy an island, like, explain to me what I would actually do with $1 billion. It's like there's nothing I could buy that's worth it. Like, I just don't get it. And
if I bought a tiger and I bought an elephant,
I'd bring it to my island.
I would name them Whiskers and Chris.
And just keep beating.
I take the elephant as Chris.
I'm not saying which one is which.
Oh, I'm buying a panda for damn sure.
You would buy a
I said too. I told Salena I'm gonna clone her. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, can we clone me so my clone can do stuff for me and I can just live under the grid?
Yeah.
Fake my own death.
You would buy a chicken and name it Jennifer.
I should. Yeah.
That would be the first thing you do.
I would fatten it up too.
And then you buy a cat, make it completely angry, and name it Kaya.
There you go. I would clone Kaya and mix her DNA with a cat DNA. If I had $1 billion. That's what I'm saying. Like, people, if you ask anybody what would you do with $1 billion, you would hear dumb shit like, I'd buy an island, I'd buy a helicopter. And you ask the average person. So, just curious, most people like.
If I had $1 million, I'm buying your mom a house.
I'm talking about $1 billion.
I'd buy every single Pokemon plushie there was.
If I had $1 billion, I'd buy a house for every single person in our family.
Well, we talked about this when Big Al was here, the American Dream. Like, when we were growing up as kids, for me, I also thought the American Dream was simple. Like, have a decent home to live into, have a decent car, have a college fund.
Like
a white picket fence.
Right now, that is the dream. Is we buy our own town, get all of our family members hooked up, call it like different family members on each lane.
Mm.
So, like, if Robert's down, like, one lane, it'd be, like, Robert, like, someone else.
Robert Ave.
Probably, like, someone with, like, the last name Cunningham and call it, like, Cunningham Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
If, like, Terry and, like, Bert came down, or, like, all your cousins.
That's what the premise I was making is that,
Yeah.
like, I think for most people, though, the American Dream is, like, whatever, like, especially nowadays during fucking COVID and stuff in our economy, what do people want? Most people, general people, want something simple. They want food in your fucking bellies, roof over your head, you want air conditioning, you want internet, but you want your kids to have a good fucking life. You want a decent crime-free fucking area and stuff.
Exactly.
Most people just want fucking to have, like, everyone like, not 19 people in a fucking 1-bedroom apartment. You want to have everyone have their own bedroom, their own fucking privacy and shit. But now it's just like, I feel like it's becoming so excessive where it's like, you hear about, I have $1 billion. Why are you buying who needs an island? It's like, okay, you have you and your wife and your 2 kids, right? Yep. I have a mansion that has 35 bathrooms. Okay, if you have 35 fucking bedrooms and bathrooms, you better be having like a hotel or something. But individual people have these disgusting things that they don't fucking need. Like, explain to me, why do you have 5 yachts?
To traffic their humans.
There you go.
I mean, maybe I'm thinking too simple. I would buy your mom a house first. Make sure she's set up.
But I'm saying for you yourself. That's the point. You yourself, though. I'm saying, like, you're talking about other people. I'm saying, like, an individual person who has $1 billion. Why does one individual person need to have?
Because they're stupid.
That's what I'm saying with capitalism. It's like, this is why I found, this is the point of, like, the podcast and the balance with our economy.
It's greed.
It's greed because there are stupid. So stupid people. So I'm saying is like when you're out fucking buying 5 yachts,
like, that's
you could
the
be feeding kids.
Is that the stupidest people in the world are the ones with the most money?
And that's the problem I've had doing this podcast.
Like,
stupid people don't deserve that shit.
Like, that's the point. Like, if I had $1 billion, first thing I'm doing, like I said, I'm buying your mom a house. I'm having a house built for myself for like how I would picture my dream house to look like.
Right.
Like, I would
hire an architect.
I would hire an architect, have them build it. I wouldn't need like anyone to like work there, but I'd have enough room and space so that if anyone I know ever fell on hard times, guess what? You don't, until you get back on your feet, guess what? You're staying with me.
Yeah.
Save your money. I'm obviously a billionaire. Like, you'll be fine. You'll be fed. But save your money. It's not a forever thing. Save your money until you're able to get back on your feet.
Yeah. Well, so that's I'm saying. The premise is like, if you ask the quote unquote average person, the average blue collar person, the average American, what they would do if they had fucking money, the first thing they would say is, I would buy a better house. I would live in a better neighborhood. But like, I've never met anybody, at least in my lifetime, any of my coworkers say, Chris, first thing I want to do is fucking buy 3 helicopters. It's because the average.
Of course, I'd also want to buy a hyena.
It's like the average person doesn't. Well, the average person doesn't need a hyena because they're not an asshole. It's like,
hey,
or a tiger. There is
I'm buying a hyena and I'm naming him Bruce.
Yeah, there is no reason
after that hunky Wayne guy.
Yeah, there is no reason any sane person needs to buy a fucking hyena. That's why Mike Tyson.
Someone needs to laugh at my jokes.
It's just stupid. It's like. So then, when I hear about people buying dumb shit, I'm going through $10,000 of wine in a month. Like, if you're going through $10,000 of wine in a month, you're an asshole. I'm sorry, but like.
No, that just means you really like the wine and you have a freaking drinking problem.
So
now I'm just thinking about.
Speaking of drinking, can you pass the apple, please?
No, it's a. No, that's what I'm saying, Salena. It's just the premise. Like, everybody deserves to have fucking. To spend, do nice things for your fucking self. I'm saying, like, when you read about the things people do, you're like, you ask yourself why. Like, go on vacation, have a good fucking time.
Yeah, I want to travel.
Traveling's fine. I just like when I read about say
that too. That's on my bucket list. I want to see like all 50 states, even the ones that everyone says don't go to.
With something, I think most people actually, if they had the financial opportunities, should travel, should explore the world, should see historical monuments all across, either the world or the country. And that's what I'm saying. But people, it's like, there's so much excessive greed. I read about, like, Jay Leno has like in his car garage 300 fucking cars. I'm like, dude,
I wouldn't own 300 cars.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like there's so much excessiveness, excessive fucking greed. While somebody buys 300 cars, somebody can't fucking buy their kids shoes. Somebody can't whatever. They can't fucking pay their rent.
I take it as, in this day and age, I feel like we already have like the technology for like free energy for everybody and stuff. And if we were to do that, there'd be no more cars. There'd be no more oil.
Well,
industry.
Back in the 70s, they did create a car that runs on water.
And that got patented under national security. So all these free energy technologies are being patented because these billionaires want to stay billionaires.
That's a bang.
So that's why they are holding their money. Like, why should I distribute all this wealth and have you guys run me out of business?
Yeah.
I guess if I was them, I may not want that either.
Well,
but
it's like it's a sour note, but like, what's sad is that's like this human greed and this fucking imbalance of classism has existed before, well beyond our lifetimes, generations, and I'm sure long when 1,000 years from now, when we're all fucking dead and buried and shit, they'll still be there. And that's one thing I've definitely fucking learned. Said during this podcast past year is like, guys, we'll get serious sometimes, but for most part, give me a fucking drink, let me laugh, let me talk about shit, because this. Two things I fucking noticed about as a species. Two things. Racism will never fucking end. I don't give a shit what year, what decade, what generation. Racism is not going to fucking end.
It's not. Stop thinking. There's always going to be assholes out there.
Stop thinking it's going to. So stop trying to cure it, because it's not going anywhere. Yeah. And classism and this fucking rich and greedy and poor. So far, pick up a history book. It's never fucking changed. So what you can do is like grab a fucking drink, laugh about funny shit, because that's none of us, the four of us, or anybody listening to this podcast, you're not going to change the fact that Jeff Bezos is worth $1 trillion fucking dollars. You can't change the fact that, guess what, the Ku Klux Klan, even Nazis, they still exist in 2021. They will exist 500 fucking years from now. It's not going to fucking change. So what you can do is like sit back and have a good time and just accept it.
I'm pretty sure.
We also can't change the fact that Dean Winchester killed Hitler. Spoiler alert for anyone watching Supernatural.
I love Supernatural.
We're seeing the mathematicians.
Oh no, I feel like it's like saying, like, I'm pretty sure the mathematicians in ancient Alexandria thought the same thing, that, we're the greatest city in the world, we're gonna last like 500 years, where they've been burned to the ground and started the Dark Ages. I feel like that's just as susceptible.
Well, Rogan said that.
What if they just want to burn everything to the ground and start all over again?
Joe said that about America as superpower.
Someone needs to make a new religion.
America for a long time period has been like the number one superpower and the number one whatever out there, richest country and the best is technology. It's almost every empire collapses. Every empire comes to an end. And like recently, the way China's been going and England's been going, and the fact that right now we still are in last place with COVID, it just shows like it's scary, the fact that our time is feels like we're on fucking borrowed time right now.
Yeah, it does feel.
I'm gonna create the Church of Susan, and the main goal is to desperately seek Susan.
So,
I feel the Susan.
When you are there, you only sing songs written and, well, not even written, just like performed by Manana.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys go then. I'm done. Sue, Salena, Louis, you guys, like, I mean, yeah, I've been on the podcast a lot, all you guys, but like the past year of like, I don't know, like I guess said point of being blue collar, the economy, COVID, anything like the past year, any thoughts? I'm done. So.
I don't know. Personally, I felt like when the pandemic hit, it just gets really easy to get into your own world because we're all quarantining. And then, I don't know, I kind of feel grateful about the quarantine because I like having time to myself. And when I went from working outside to working inside, it was really nice at first. I felt like I could do this. And then a couple months go along, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. I did end up getting a little stir crazy too, which eventually led me to losing my job, but also the pandemic too. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, a lot happened. I feel like so much has happened, it'd be too much to talk about. I don't even know where to start. It's only been a year.
I guess, okay, financially, or like, I guess, like, as a system, as an economy, would you feel like
financially I'm doing great on unemployment? Unemployment has been taking good care of me, and I am looking for work. I'm eventually gonna go back, and I'm looking forward to go back to work too. I would like to get my old job back, but I don't know how that's gonna go. But I am gonna try.
Well, do you feel like, okay, having this much free time off work, has it been good or bad?
I feel like ultimately it's been very good. I felt like I really got to find myself because I've been working nonstop since I was 18. Like once I graduated high school, basically moved in with my boyfriend at the time and just been working. And then up until the pandemic, I haven't had like much time off like that like since I was 18. So it was really nice. It was really nice. I got to enjoy like a whole summer for the first time in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. You and Lou can go. I'm good. I'm here. I talked for like a half hour.
I can honestly say, like, from the beginning of it, like, I don't know, the pandemic itself, that could be a little bit of a pain in the ass, because, like, if you like to work and you're stuck at home because your job's not considered essential, like, then you're stuck in a rut. You don't know what the hell to do with yourself. Like, yeah, you have all this freedom, but it's limited freedom at the same time, because there are things that you would normally like to do.
Right.
Like, you can't go to a concert. Going to the beach, like, you can't go with, like, more than, like, a couple people, and if you do, like, everyone has to be social distance. Yeah. Everyone has to be this, everyone has to be that. And it was just, it made things harder. A lot harder. And it's, like, the fear that they were instilling in people of, don't go here, don't go there, don't go here. You're gonna catch COVID if you leave your house. Guess what? Now there's a mandate where you have to wear a mask if you enter a store. And, like, all this different stuff. And then, like, every day it's like, don't wear this type of mask because you can still catch it. Don't wear this type of mask because you can still catch it.
They'll have their own different percentages of effectiveness.
You know, actually, wear gloves, too, like, if you go into the store, because, like, if you touch something, guess what? We still don't know exactly what this whole virus is about yet. So, wear gloves, wear a mask. Like, make sure, like, you're doing everything you can to protect yourself. Running out of hand sanitizer, running out of toilet paper, running out of, like, Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
Any type of cleaner. Like, gloves, masks, everything. Like, it was insane.
I've been friggin' working for so long and stuff that, like, I resented people after a while.
Yeah.
That when I first started quarantine, I was, like, happy. But then, like, after a while, I was like, wow, I wish, like, I had a person to annoy me right now. I kind of wish I was, was annoyed.
That was something, too, for me. Like, I was kind of happy because I'm like, first, my boss calls me. He's like, we're going to be shut down for 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay. So we're shut down for 2 weeks. 2 weeks is up. Yeah, we're shut down until May 1st. Okay, so we're out for all of April? Okay, cool. April passes, and, like, it took forever for me to get back to work. Because as the country's reopening and more places are going back, like, because of the whole transition that my store went through, we went from being in Colony to moving to Guilderland. Then after all of that, I moved back to Colony with my job. You've been there.
Yeah.
That it just was like, it took forever. And a lot of it had to do with the shutdown because we knew our lease was up come June. So we knew we weren't going to go back to that store the further it got towards that date, because we're like, well, what if we're told we have to go back to work June 1st?
So you were on unemployment for some time?
I was on unemployment until end of April. Not April, end of August. Yeah. I was out of work for 5.5 months. Yeah. 5.5 months. And it was so annoying. And for me, like, after a while, I would call my boss and I would be like, so when are we going back to work? Like, we were still getting the 600 at that point in time. Like, we were still, like, it was still a law. You were getting $600 for, like, pandemic relief fund stuff. So
it's your unemployment plus that 600. Oh, yeah, it was nice.
So it was nice. I had money in my pocket. I wasn't caring about all of that. I was caring about the fact that every single day, I'm here.
You had to figure it out.
It's like, there's only so many times that you can watch the same show, start a new show, do this, do that. I, like, had a freaking notebook. I was writing down, like, freaking the names of every freaking wrestler. I was writing down every TV show I was watching. I made a list of all my favorite characters on all my favorite TV shows. I was getting fucking bored.
Making lists of all the movies that you watch and stuff.
I was making lists of all the movies that I was watching. I was starting to get really bored. And then, like, the podcast on top of that.
Yeah.
And the podcast, to some degree, like, granted, at first I was like, it's just a stupid podcast. And sometimes I am still like that. But to some degree, like, that kept all of us pretty much sane. Because it was something to do.
Yeah.
I gamed a lot. I gamed hard. And I also jogged. I got into jogging. I lost some weight, but I gained it all back.
But, that's another thing. Because we were out of work. Now, I've always been, like, naturally plump to begin with.
We know.
Shut up, Chris. But I've always been, like, naturally on the heavier side. When I was younger, I weighed a lot for how old I was when I first came to Chris's mom. I dropped weight extremely quick. When I was, like, what was it, like 23, 24?
That's me.
When you were at Goodwill.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Way back.
Way back when.
Yeah, I was better looking.
So, back then, like, I was losing weight, and I, like, was going way down. And back then, I thought I was fat as hell.
Yeah.
Over this freaking quarantine, I gained so much weight.
Yep, them quarantine kilos.
And I, like, looked at a picture of myself. We had a former coworker who passed away back in January.
Yeah.
Who was amazing.
Yeah.
And we both loved him. You know, you loved him.
I did. I would love to. I would have loved to show him Salena.
I know.
I'm sorry, guys.
The first thing he would have said was, "Chris, did you fuck her in the ass?"
Ew.
He would have.
He was a 72-year-old man. He was the funniest thing in the freaking world. Like, loved him to death. When we love you.
Remember he met Mary? He's like, Chris, did you fuck her? I'm like,
R.I.P.
Yeah.
But
He's like, Chris, did you fuck the lesbian yet? He's just the shit he would say.
every time.
No filter.
Every time we'd go to see a movie, first person you go to, Chris, was it good?
Yeah.
Wait, should I ask him? Every movie's good to him.
Well, on a side note, so like me and Wynn didn't have the most conversations, but we talked about he had a very, very bad history with alcoholism.
He did.
I did, and at one point, like most people, because when I went through with fucking Mary, I said to him, "Hey, Wynn, what point in your life? Because was he sober for like 20 years or some shit?
Something like that. He was like, he said to me once, he's like, when I started pissing blood, that's when I knew I had to stop.
That's what I said to him at one point. I was like when everyone has their low point, everyone has their fucking breaking point. Like what was your rock bottom? He said, Chris. He's like, yeah, when I woke up and I'm pissing blood. It's like that's all that's coming out of me. It's like that for me was my rock bottom.
That on top of he said the scariest thing is when you're a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
He's like, because when you're a functioning alcoholic, no one knows.
Yeah. Because he was a state worker. He worked for the state for like 40 fucking years or some shit. And like one of them guys where he's a state worker, working and paying his dues, and he's drunk as all fucking hell because he's good at hiding it. Nobody fucking know.
Yeah.
I wasn't that drunk. I wouldn't show up to work but I was like, I just used it as such an easy crutch. It was like such a quick, like, whatever you call it, like binky I could just run to the store, hide, put a beer in a Stewart's cup, and then run back to work. And that was like my like Band-Aid. But it eventually got to like, wow, Salena, you must really love coffee. And I'm just like, yeah, I love it. I love coffee.
But he used to be funny with like 2/3 of the shit he would say.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. We loved him to death. But I didn't realize just how thin I was back then until a mutual friend of mine and Chris's, when I told her that he passed away, she posted a picture. The only picture she had of him that she found, she was like, oh shit, I have this picture of Wynn. Oh look, it's me and Sue grabbing his ass at a fair.
Yep.
And we're in the picture, and I'm looking at the picture, and I'm like, I was so skinny. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, I was like that too. It's so weird. Well, when you're used to always being big and then you lose a lot of weight, you don't really have like that paradigm until like you basically gain the weight back and see the difference. And you're like, wow, I was skinny the whole time. I was so ungrateful. I could have wore a bikini. I didn't even know it.
But that's the saddest part though, is like I didn't see it, but like what was funny was
I did.
You notice.
Yeah.
He notices everything.
Of course I
do. You noticed that I was thinner.
Everything except when
Jen noticed I was thinner. Our cousin Ashley was a bartender for so many years. She worked, the one restaurant that keeps changing names up by Osborne Road in Colony?
No.
It used to be Appletini's, then it became the Rail Yard. Yeah. Now it's what the hell's the name of it? Margarita City?
I've lost track.
I did not know this.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Very indecisive.
Sound like that restaurant has an identity crisis.
So, our cousin Ashley worked as bartender there and like a waitress when it was Appletini's and when it was Rail Yard. I didn't know she was back there when it became rail yard. I went walking past one day on my way to work. She comes running out the door. She walks up. First thing she does, gives me a big hug. She's like, "You've gotten so skinny. What the hell happened to your boobs?" I'm like, of all the freaking things, and she's like, "We're girls. We look at these things." I'm like, yeah, okay.
Dude, I miss my boobs. I used to complain about my big boobs all the time. I remember one time for Christmas, I got like this cutest bra and panty. I was like a teenager in high school. This cute bra and panty that my mom got me. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so huge when I first seen the size. And I was so upset. I'm like, this does not fit me. It ended up fitting me. And then I lost all the weight, and now I have like so much extra. Well, not so much extra skin, but you know, you notice how squishier and more malleable you are when you lose all the weight.
Things sag, you know.
But it had me dying, and then like another one of our coworkers who passed away like 5 years ago. No, 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. She used to work there with our cousin as well. And she worked there, and her fiance at the time, he worked there too. And she saw our cousin. Our cousin's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
To begin with, like,
well, I keep saying like, which
the
one?
Picture you showed
Ashley.
Me?
Well, no, I showed a picture of Laura earlier.
Ashley is Laura's sister.
But
Laura's pretty. So
yeah,
the
they're both freaking gorgeous girls.
Front picture, I show quick.
So Ashley's there. She's working with her, and she's looking. Our coworker. She's looking at Ashley. She's like, "You're so gorgeous. Like, you look so great. I'm so happy for you. Blah blah blah." And Ashley is so like health conscious most of the time, and like she's always like working out, always like trying to eat right, exercise, do what's right by her, to like keep herself like looking the way that she does.
Oh, she's very pretty.
And she looks at Renee. Renee is the one who passed away. And she's like, I had to cut like sour cream out of my diet because it goes directly to my hips and this, that, and third. And like my friend Renee's like, yeah, you know, it doesn't help that like I want to shove a hamburger down her throat because of the fact, or like just like toss her into like a mud puddle because like she's too damn pretty and all this other shit. But she's like, but she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she's like, and her personality's gorgeous, which makes her even more beautiful.
Yeah.
And shit. So they're sitting there, and then the topic came to me, and Renee's like, well, Susan lost a shit ton of weight too. And she's like, I know, she looks so beautiful. And she's like, well, it doesn't help that she walks like 27 miles a day. And Renee had a thing about the freaking number 27. It became like her favorite freaking number. And Ashley, to her credit, Ashley is a true blonde. She looks at Renee, jaw drop. She's like, I knew she walked a lot. I didn't know she walked that much.
Why'd you walk so much?
It was literally only 7 miles a day.
Oh.
But Renee's fiance's behind them listening to the conversation. He's like, how much of a dingbat are you? She doesn't walk 27 miles a day. And she's like, I didn't think she said 27. I thought she only said 7. And to like try and like help herself, she just like stormed away.
Yeah.
Even though she was embarrassed because she did have a dingbat moment.
It can happen.
It was cute.
It can happen.
It was cute. And like Renee, for the life of her, she just like glared back at her fiance. And she's like, how dare you be that rude to that girl? And shit. And I looked at Renee and I'm like, well, technically I do kind of walk only 7 miles a day.
I mean, I can ask you and Lou's next, but like, you know, for what I came through listening to you and Salena, like, I just said because of my lifestyle and the way Dad raised me and stuff, the most time I've ever had off work was my last surgery. In fact, the most time I've ever had off work is because of surgery. Like, if right now, because of my work ethic and my life, if you gave me 6 months off, I wouldn't know what to do. Because I've never had that much time with myself.
Chris, think about it. Like, you worked with me at freaking Goodwill. When did I ever call in?
Yeah.
Still, being back to work, I haven't called in once. I may run late. I may, like, do whatever. But I'm never, like, calling out of work. Yeah. Especially where I'm at now. I'm the only fucking employee. So I can't call out.
Yeah.
I'll go in on a day off. Like,
what did you feel like having with the time off during COVID? Was it better? Was it good or bad for you?
It was in between. It was in between for multiple freaking reasons. Because, obviously, like, I had what I had going on with Longhorn. You laugh, but
Screw that
Shut
guy.
up,
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just the name.
Need some air.
Longhorn.
But it's the fact of what I had going on with him. Going to the beach with like your mom and Kaya, with Laura and her one friend.
Yeah.
Your mom, Jamie, and Jen and stuff. I'll be out with you in a second.
What, you want Lou to take over?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Listen.
Pause. Well, no, I'll feel let Lou's turn.
I'm just chilling, but
No, so I'm gonna give Lou his turn if you guys want to take a break. You know.
Yeah, we'll take a break. Lou, you
guys.
continue
I know.
what you're doing, and
Selena
I'll
doesn't
come
have
back to
she
what
doesn't
I
have
was
much endurance like me, so
Yeah.
no.
Well, listen.
I mean,
we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that
Trust me,
alone.
she ain't got my endurance.
we'll get back to my story
she
after this
She
quick
started
break.
out fast.
Oh my god.
So Lou, I mean, you've only been a half full podcast, but like no, the past year, like you said, this is just kind of like everyone catching up for a year. I wish we had Al here and Junior and everybody else, but like shit happens. So
Yeah.
but like how's like I guess how's COVID? How's the economy? How is even being on podcast the past year of like anything? I'm just trying to get a kind of feel of everyone how everyone's been after a year of doing this shit.
Well, I definitely would say it has its, downsides, but it was all a blessing in disguise to me. To me, it's everything what y'all mentioned in this podcast, spot on and accurate on a financial, capitalizing, and economical scale.
Yeah.
It has its both blessings and its curses. But as you were saying, me being a philosophical type, I saw it from that perspective where it didn't just put people in a bind on a lot of levels, but from how you said me from a philosophical point of view, I saw COVID actually reveal a lot of people's true nature, from friendships to relationships to marriages to their own individuality. Like pretty much people where I wasn't judging them by any means, being who I am, but noticing what I might have noticed pre-arc. Man, I'm making it sound like an anime shit. like pre-arc COVID, I was already noticing certain things, both positive and negatives. But when COVID hit, I noticed that people like those who's already generous, wholesome people, decent people, they was just going doing their due diligence, but it also magnified. It was like those who you knew you could count on, you see it for what it is now. Yeah. Where you it's no way to doubt it, it's no way to question it, unless you already a miserable person and already questioning yourself. But that's a different thing all in itself. But the ones who were not generous, disingenuous, unwholesome, undecent, it's like you got to see them in an atmosphere that you didn't think was possible to see them in. Yeah. And I started noticing a lot of that. And one of the things I was hoping one day in one of the podcasts in the near future, we talk about what's called the Mercury retrograde. What's that? It actually has to do where a certain time of like, I guess the other century or the year, for those that are Mercury retrograde study experts, that's listening to the podcast, help me on this. I believe it's either a certain time of the year or certain parts of the century. I think part of it has to do with the century, because since we are at like I guess what's considered mid pinnacle of the new century of the 21st century and all that, I guess the planets started to align at almost it's at a perfect alignment. Yeah. And because of that, it affected everything within our atmosphere. Like it literally enhanced everything and everyone in ways that we might have not have known or acknowledged. Like, not to get all personal or lovey-dovey or nothing, even though I'm a happily single man for about 3 years now, but even though I don't think my kid's mom will be listening to this, but if she is, I wouldn't care. I noticed that even though she's happily spoken for, she became more bold in her flirtations and subliminals, even though things that I know she wouldn't have the heart to say, no matter good, bad, right, or wrong.
Yeah.
She's been hella bold about it. I'm saying her like, you got a man right next to you. You talking to me like that? Well, and
I want for you.
Go ahead.
I pop in Google, and this comes from almanac.com. It says Mercury retrograde dates for 2021. This asks, what is Mercury retrograde, and what does it mean for you? It says that Mercury's first period of retrograde motion in 2021 lasts from January 30th to February 20th. It says, according to the age-old practice of astrology, we are all influenced by the effect of Mercury in retrograde. What exactly does that mean for us, though? Now it says, what is it? 3 times a year, the planet Mercury appears to travel backwards across the sky. We refer to these periods as times when Mercury is in apparent retrograde motion, or simply Mercury retrograde. To those who practice astrology, those times were traditionally associated with confusion, delay, and frustration. Think undelivered love letters, email blunders, and frazzled travel plans. This is an excellent time to reflect on the past. However, and it's said that intuition is high during these periods. Coincidences can be extraordinary. So that's what that means. So.
And as you broke that down, reading that article, that's exactly what I was noticing amongst the environment from pre-COVID to now. And I believe since we are still in the early events of 2021, you could kind of say we're gearing towards the second trimester of the retrograde. And like with family and friends who, no matter if we have the best or the worst of connections with them, pretty much anything we might have been confused if they're being sincere with us or not, because of the Mercury retrograde in effect and in full activation, it's like things that we might second guess, we don't have to anymore because it's literally right in our face. And the Mercury retrograde, like as in the energies that's involved with that, it's pretty much, it's like it made everything. And I think, I'm not saying COVID has anything to do with the Mercury retrograde, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's aligned in it somehow, because not once have we ever had any, like, as in our generation, not once have we ever had like a major pandemic as to what we have now. And I think because there's been so many ungrateful things, even though we may not be ungrateful, but someone next to us or across the backyard, next to our backyard, they might have been ungrateful about something. We might have noticed it. We're not judging them for it, but we're like, wait, I wonder what would happen if they end up eventually having to answer for, their mistakes or whatever. And I think due to COVID and the Mercury retrograde involvement, it's pretty much it's like where we've questioned, like, if karma exists or whatever, like those we see doing wrong, when are they gonna get their pay dues? I believe Mercury retrograde is speeding up sped up the process, where those who deserves their rewards are finally getting them, and those who deserve their repercussions are finally getting them. And just to be off of that for the moment, like on a more personal level, like with COVID and everything, I mean, even though, I have, how I said to you, money coming in where it takes care of the basic necessities, food in the fridge, roof over the head, lights on, the works. But to be able to where, like, if you, Susan, Salena, and I, whoever, Al, we were like, yo, let's go out one day, have some drinks, or go to Denny's or Dave & Buster's, whatever. I'm the type of person where I always been the type where if I got, we got. Even though I know everybody got their own financial biorhythm coming in, whatever work they do for a living, I'm the type where, kind of like, for example, like earlier, where you know, when I say, hey, pull up to Burger King so I, you know, get a double Whopper meal, whatever. And, you know, even though I was paying on my card, you know, I didn't say anything about, you know, the onion rings, because I've always been that believer where if I got it, we got it.
Yeah.
You know, if I say no, it's not because I'm being stingy or inconsistent. It's more like because I don't have it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the same way.
That's the only time I would say no. But neither here or there. Pretty much like where it has affected me, like it's pretty much like how you said it has suppressed a lot of things, or repressed or dampened a lot of things, like the US Veteran Hospital. Even though I've been in touch here and there and kind of consistent, depending, you know, if they busy or not. One of the supervisors for the canteen cafe crew for the US veterans at the hospital near Albany, May. Even though I applied to do dishwashing and food prep, I guess they said when I got a call back, they said due to my resume and credentials, they wanted to hire me to be a nutritionist aid supervisor for their veterans.
Yeah.
I was with it all the way, no hesitation. Now this was, as I'm using anime reference, pre-arc COVID. My foot was actually in the door, you know, passed the drug test, everything, flying colors. And as soon as they was about to, you know, set up orientation and scheduled hours, that's when COVID kicked.
Yeah. All right, what I'll do is I'll wait for Susan and Selena to get back. I'm going to pause this for a second so I can go pee. We're not just talking about yourself. And that's actually a good topic I'll bring up with the girls and stuff. And then after that, we'll kill it. But
right.
That's something I want to bring up with them and want to get their perspective on it, because I feel like COVID is one of the things where it's a tragedy and it's also situational based. And this situation will show you people's true colors, like you're saying. And I want to hear Susan and Selena's taking that. So I'm going to pause it for a minute, take a quick pee, and just set up in a second. Respect, you try to take things and try to find some kind of positive. You know, it's like I always said, I told Selena recently, she forgot about that. Susan remembers when I had, like, you know, a girlfriend back in my early 20s, and she gave birth to a stillborn baby. Yep. You know, now, and when it happened, I thought my whole fucking world was ending. That was fucking 17 years ago. You know, looking back in retrospect, like 17, 18 years ago, I forgot.
19 years ago?
I don't want to go with dates, but regardless, the fact what I'm saying is that, like, looking back on things, had that, you know, baby possibly fucking survived, had things been differently, I wouldn't have met, you know, Satan, but like I wouldn't have had Christian, you know, and like, you know, so who knows when you look back on things 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years
Christian
ago.
Christian wanted to know if you were talking about what's going on with him on the podcast.
Not really, no.
What would you have named the baby?
His name was supposed to be what? Michael Anthony?
Something like that. Honestly, it's 19 years ago. I can't really remember.
It was either Michael Anthony or Anthony Michael.
That's nice. My brother name.
But yeah, it's just a point that, like, sometimes like, with Jen and Kenny, I know Jen will hit a point that she'll try to find a lesson learned. She'll try to find some comedy, and because that's what we do. I told Selena about when Mom wouldn't come to my funeral for my son that died. You know, my father had to be the person to make everyone laugh, because that's how Dad was. My father would make you laugh at a funeral because you had to. You know, it's like everyone's depressed. So looking at with right now is COVID. Talking to Lewis about, you know, COVID, I feel like teaches people, like, you know, how things really are. I've said with fucking prison, if I could do it all over again, I still would go back, because I feel like prison teaches you a lot about yourself. Also, a lot of your so-called fucking friends. You'll have 500 Facebook friends before prison. Get out. You'll lose half of them. You find out who's really fucking there for you and who's really not. And I feel like fucking COVID, I kept reading about husbands, wives, relationships and stuff, that there was a dynamic where, like, your girlfriend, boyfriend, you would go to work, you'd see them. Now people are spending, quote unquote, too much time together, and it ended up with a lot of relationships ending. And I'm like, well, my thing is, if your husband or wife, your boyfriend or girlfriend, is spending too much time with them and you two breaking up, you had a pretty shitty relationship. I'm sorry. You know,
the pandemic really made or break persons. And I think it definitely taught resilience ultimately in a lot of people. I had to let go of a lot of things. My life is nothing like it was a year ago.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah. Now you have me in it.
oh,
Right? Yeah, life changed forever.
Yeah.
Never been the same again.
I mean,
Exactly.
so
It's much better.
It's
Just-
mythical.
I mean, just think she gained you, and she gained you as a positive. She gained me as a negative. That's how it
That's true.
happens. So
It balances it out.
Yeah.
exactly. But no, the COVID definitely taught. Like, you know, if unless somebody actually died, which fortunately enough, nobody here had people that fucking died in them. But
I lost an uncle.
for COVID,
He didn't die from COVID,
well,
but
I'm saying, well,
he did pass away.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful I didn't hear any stories. I don't know about you, Lewis. I hope you didn't lose anybody to COVID, or did you?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Like, I
lucky
didn't lose
enough
any
to
family
not
members
lose anybody from it. Yeah.
From COVID, but I had a lot of family members who wound up having it.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, it's no one like on like the side of the family that you're on. It's like a lot of the people who were on my dad's side.
Yeah. Well, it's like Jamie and Jennifer both had COVID. My cousin Ashley had COVID. They're all fine.
Holy cow. Yeah, I didn't get it.
Like,
So that's why I said, I mean, not being a dickhead, but like, I'm sorry, guys. It's been a fucking year. I have just as much fear of COVID killing me as I do the common cold killing me. Based on what I've seen, call me an asshole, call me arrogant. Based on what I've fucking seen, guys, I'm 39 years old. I'm in pretty fucking relatively good shape. Both my sisters, and I love them, but they're overweight. They are. Jennifer fucking smokes like a goddamn chimney. They're technically speaking health-wise, they're in a higher risk category than I am.
Yeah.
They're both fucking fine. I've had, in fact, my job,
well, that's
over 100
something-
workers caught COVID. Nobody's gotten sick off it out of 100 co-workers.
You know, that's something
I'm not stressing
that
it.
I don't get. Like, okay, granted, people I've seen, we've now seen someone who had an underlying health issue who did pass away from it. But my nephew, who is asthmatic,
Mhm.
and it's a freaking disease that they do say it attacks your lungs. Like, he can't breathe properly to begin with, and he caught it, and he had no symptoms whatsoever. His girlfriend also caught it. The only symptom she had was she lost her her sense of taste, and her sense of smell.
Which I've heard about that.
Neither one of their kids got it whatsoever.
Yeah.
One of her, like, either her great uncle or her grandfather or somebody, like, very close to her, they got it. They wound up having to go in the hospital. Like, it was...
Yeah, very weird symptoms.
Yeah.
Like with the flu, like I never got the flu either, but one thing that I know is like a unanimous thing is the chills. You get chills. Like, I don't know if you can have the flu without feeling symptoms like that, but yeah, COVID is a weird thing.
Well,
but I'm honestly fucking sick of talking about COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just
You said you were
just
talking about the Mercury retrograde, Lewis?
just because we're just doing a year interview, but no, Lewis mentioned COVID and stuff, and what he feels like a lot of people, you see a lot of people's true colors because of COVID, and I feel like because of people that weren't working, that were working, that aren't working. This is like any kind of bad situation. I really feel like fucking the bad. And like on a side note, like I was talking to Salena about like Saw. Like I told Christian to see the new Saw movie. When you actually watch the Saw movies, the premise of that, which is to me, Saw technically is a horror franchise. When you watch them fucking films, they're actually very, very smart. And the main character, that's the Saw killer, he actually during the third film talks about, in the face of death, in the face of controversy, in the face of like, tragedy, drama, and whatever's going on, you see what people are really fucking like. And that was kind of like his premise was, this is a guy who's dying of fucking cancer, and he would do anything he can to survive. And how much people just take life for granted and take their family for granted, take their health for granted, and they do. And he's just like, later on during the fucking series, you start to find out that why he's doing what he's doing for is that how it's like you really find out what you're truly made of when you're faced. It's like if somebody puts a gun to your head, you will find out in that fucking moment what kind of person you really fucking are. And that's what I said with COVID, me going to fucking prison, anything. COVID has taught a lot of fucking people what other people are actually fucking like. Because sometimes it takes a tragedy to either bring out the worst in people or the best in people.
Right.
Exactly. Like Salena just said, so this shows people's true fucking nature. I said about my son's mother. We'll talk about this later. When I impregnated this girl, she was, for the most part, initially a decent human being. Once she got pregnant with my son, boy, I seen her true fucking colors. And it took us having a baby to see what kind of fucking monster she really is. And I'll say it to her fucking face. She's a goddamn monster. But she wasn't like that when I first met her. But then she was hiding who she truly fucking was.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
you saw her representative.
Yeah, and I said on this podcast in my personal life, when I was dating a fucking girl, her husband was beating her. The thing, she's like, Chris, for the longest time, when I first met this guy, he wasn't like, not in the first date, he fucking punched her in the face. It took him, he was hiding the scumbag he truly was. Once he got with her and got into her and got like, even, she got fucking pregnant with this kid, then the beating started happening, then the cheating started happening, then the fucking degrading started happening. She found out what a monster he truly is after he hid the fact of what he really was.
Yeah, she had a rough life.
So she became the shadow of the person that hurt her, in other words.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, a lot of PTSD from it.
Yeah, but it just show you that it's a tragedy. It will. It's like it'll either fucking make us or break us. Yeah. But it will show us what we are like. But also, and COVID, anything, death. Like even like Jen and Kenny, we see the kind of fucking person Jen was, and what kind of person kind of people Kenny's family were. He's got a really shitty fucking family, and it just said so. Even like say Salena, I seen like your mom, Salena, your mother was coming off of getting a COVID vaccine, and your mother has like a problem walking and stuff, and like I feel so bad that it's like a good person.
Yeah, we're trying to get used to her third arm and stuff. Yeah. But,
so it's like that's what I'm saying. But so many people out there have just like the fact that like right now I can get up, I can go jogging. Her mother can't because of health reasons and stuff. Mom has fucking back problems. Mom can't fucking do a pull up and stuff. So there's been days I tell myself that, hey Chris, instead of doing extra pull up, instead of bitching about how hot it is and stuff, think of how many fucking people can't go fucking jogging. How many people like mom can't fucking do a pull up? How many people only have one arm can't? It's like there's so many fucking people that would give anything to do what I can do. So it's like I've never one time took for granted my health, because people out there wish they had my body, that can't do things. Like imagine a coworker, I showed Salena this. I just had a coworker, God bless this little girl, I'm gonna throw some money towards his way. I don't have a lot of money. I'll throw what I can towards this guy. A coworker took some time off work. His 17-year-old fucking daughter has got a bald head. They just amputated one of her legs. Oh my God. It's 17 years old.
Wow.
Imagine being 17 and losing a leg. Now, good thing she's for considering what's happening, she's healthy, she's fucking cancer free, she's gonna live considering a good fucking life. But just imagine being 17 and having your left leg taken, just said all four of us can get up and go hit a fucking treadmill. Nothing's stopping us. This little girl will never know that. Yeah. So I feel like COVID, like anything.
I mean, she could get a fake leg.
Which that might help out. Yeah. Sometimes it does work.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But it's just the point that said, the things that we take for granted. It's like family and fucking friends. How many family and friends? Even Jen's admitted this herself. Jen admitted that she took Kenny for granted. She's told me this shit. It's like it really took Kenny dying for her to be like, wow, look what the fuck I lost. And she's like, Chris, I should have taken the past year or 2 years and really appreciated this man who loved me and I loved him. I took him fucking for granted, and now she can't repair the damage that's done. She can't fucking go back and mend them fences. She can't forgive him. He can't forgive her. And so it's like looking forward.
But that's the thing is, despite every issue that they had, despite everything that happened, and despite something that someone had said the other night, where Jen and Kenny are concerned, one thing she's made very clear, she's like, I was his person, he was my person.
Yeah.
And where that was concerned is they didn't have the best relationship, but who was there every single day?
Yeah, they sounded like they were each other's rocks, but they also sound like they were each other's enablers. And
they were.
And
she's admitted to that.
She's admitted to that. Even though he's passed away, I'm not going to, give the guy, complete, say he was a saint, say he did this, say he did that. But at the same point, he all around wasn't a bad guy. He had a horrible life himself. And that caused a lot of the issues that he did wind up having.
Yeah.
And after he passed away, that's where a lot of, things started coming to light over how bad it truly was.
Yeah.
And, it's more something Jen should be talking about rather than us.
I mean, I'm waiting for Jen to come down here and Jen to say her piece and see what she has to say. I just said that, I feel like, and I said this to Jen, that look, going forward and stuff, that whatever, because you're fuck Jen's she's 30 fucking 4 years old. It's like you're not going to be single for the rest of your life, obviously.
She's not. So. But at the same point right now, she's looking at it through the perspective of, I'm never going to have kids now.
Yeah, she's still grieving. too.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the premise,
Like-
eventually when she does eventually she will meet somebody else, obviously. And I'm just saying, like, looking fucking forward, take any lesson that Kenny would have taught you. Like, maybe the fucking next guy, if you see things going on, don't ignore things. Don't take your next guy for granted, because maybe if you didn't take him for granted, he'd still fucking be here. And that's what I'm saying. I don't
think that's a way of like perceiving that.
Yeah, it's kind of implying blame. It's definitely
No, it's not playing blame in a sense. I'm just saying, like, sometimes people, they take their partners for granted because of things that they ignore it. Like, even she's like, Chris, I ignored certain signs that maybe, like, if I was more attentive with his drinking, with what's going on with his mental health and stuff, she's like, if I would have seen these signs ahead of time, I could have made him see a doctor a year ago or 2 years ago. So I'm saying, it's like, if she meets somebody,
Maybe, but at the same point, you can say, like, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done this. She's not responsible for
I'm not saying she's responsible.
What ifs aren't going to help you.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying the fact that, like, if you see somebody if your current girlfriend has a drinking problem and your girlfriend dies, maybe if your next girlfriend has a drinking problem this time, you'll say, damn, I seen the last person have a drinking problem. This time I'm going to step the fuck in. Or whatever the case may be.
Yes, but where Kenny was concerned, like, there was so much more to it than just the drinking problem. And he didn't want to talk about anything.
He also hid it, too.
Mm.
Yeah, like, she didn't realize how bad it was until
It was too late.
Yeah.
And, I personally haven't experienced death much, but, I don't know, when I think about death, I just think of, the famous Maya Angelou quote that people don't remember what you do for them, they remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think regardless of what Kenny and Jen, like, did to each other, doesn't really matter, like, compared to the love. Like, I think the only thing that matters in this circumstance is love for me.
Well, like, that's, like, too, like, not for nothing, like, obviously, like, well, my mom passed away. You guys probably have heard us talk about that on here before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
My mom suffered from freaking depression, and, like, she wasn't, like, diagnosed with it, but it was there.
Yeah.
And everyone pretty much knew it, but there was nothing anyone could do about it or did do about it.
Mm.
So it's like, could she have gotten help sooner than what she did? Probably. If someone had stepped in and said, look, you need help.
Yeah.
Well,
but
even like your mom, for example, if your mom obviously had fucking depression issues and stuff, I would just assume that her family, everybody around her, would say, okay, listen, we seen what happened, what she was going through. Perhaps, perhaps, like, looking forward, if, like, our son or daughters or cousins, now we see what happened to your mother, people can be more attentive. I feel like a lot of times people...
Chris, you know how the fucking family works.
Well, Jen just said this recently when we wanted to have our year anniversary podcast. Her exact words to me, like, "Damn, Chris, your living situation, I really didn't understand how bad it was until I seen it firsthand."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
It's like a bunch of clowns in a clown car.
But it shouldn't take me
live with my
telling you
family.
15 fucking times for you to understand how bad the situation is here. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to take, in every tragedy, you should take some kind of positive.
Yeah.
So with this whole COVID situation, if COVID would teach you things about people, it should teach you about your friends, your family relationships. The fact that, hey, if I
Your
took
resilience.
it's like if you took your past 5 boyfriends for granted, how about boyfriend number 6? You don't take them for granted.
Yeah.
How about girlfriend? How about, like, your second wife? You appreciate more. People take everything for granted until it's not there anymore.
How you mentioned being desensitized, it actually made a lot of people look at vulnerability being a foreign language, where vulnerability, if it's being appreciated, it would be worth sharing if it's with the right person, friend or significant other alike.
Word.
So, but COVID should fucking teach, like, even as a fuck society, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I watch him all the time on TikTok and Facebook. Joe Rogan, he's like, one thing COVID taught everybody, taught this fucking country, is that how seriously bad we are and how fucking ill prepared we are. Because he goes, if America handled COVID this badly, what's going to happen when the actual next real fucking emergency happens? Because, okay, COVID...
We've been handling a lot of things, but like the California forest fires, we handled horribly.
Or Texas. But the point he's making is, he's like, from American
Texas.
standpoint, from a species standpoint, COVID has taken deaths, it has taken life, no doubt. But, like, imagine if COVID would have killed 4 billion fucking people. It's killed people. But, like, what happens when the next superbug comes along? If we can't handle basically a mutated version of the fucking flu, what happens when the next thing comes along that is killing 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people for a fucking day?
And history does repeat itself. Like, we've always gone through, like, pandemics and new diseases popping up. They'll probably always be going through that.
You repeat what you don't repair or prepare for.
Protocol for that, it would be important.
You hear me, Salena?
What was that?
You repeat what you don't repair or prepare for.
I believe that.
So,
and because a lot of today's generation already feel like we got the smartphone, we got Google, we got GPS, this, that, and the third. Nobody can tell us shit. Well,
yeah,
that's why a lot of people are coming off and panicking the way they have been. And like I was saying when they was taking their break, that pretty much, to get short and sweet, straight to the point, there is no price tag for appreciation and reciprocation if one understands it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people lacking either in one or both of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of stuff in the world has been going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. So, well, we got an hour 40 in. I'll just say my piece and everyone's going to say their goodbyes. But like after a year of this shit, I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm any smarter at all. I feel like I'm just as dumb. We are just as fucked a year later. COVID's still here. I'm still just as broke. I mean, I met Salena for better or for worse.
I was wondering when you're going to bring me up. He's like, nothing, same, still broke, still miserable life, nothing new or exciting happened. Oh, Salena, there you are. Yeah, this year sucked.
I mean, yeah. I guess it's been a whole 2-hour podcast about, our roller coaster friendship.
Oh, yeah. Our situationship.
That's pretty much what it is, too. No, Susan said, and I remember that Susan's like, hey, no matter what happens the first week after you moved away, she's like, we all wish her the best of luck. Susan's like, I like her. And she's like,
Dude, I was telling Susan my situation. I felt like borderline, like, in a hostage situation. I'm exaggerating it.
But we were talking, then I went in, and then I came back out, and there you guys are.
Yeah.
So that, like, dampened, like, our girl time.
Yeah. Thanks for putting the damp.
Yeah, guys.
But the point Sue was making is like, even
my bad.
Even though your birthday, you broke my fucking heart. Susan's like, she's like, I still wish fucking her the best. We have no animosity. We hope to get her back down here one day, which we did. So, but I don't know. The past year, it's just
I don't blame her for anything that happened with you guys. Like,
I blame me.
I don't even blame you. I blame it on the fact that, like, you're too clingy and, like, she needed her space.
Yeah.
I've also learned, like, a lot about, like, myself, too. I did get out of an 8.5-year relationship.
Precisely. She needed her space.
To grow and heal.
You are just like, here's this photo album of every picture of you over the past 8 years.
That's so beautiful.
Here's this, like, here's the lyrics to this song.
Yeah.
That I found. And
dude,
like,
oh my god. What made me mad at Junior, did I tell you that? So, friggin' I have what's-his-face staying with me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, work on getting him out. And I'm talking to Chris because me and Chris are talking about going to the res. And I message him basically saying, like, I'd love to go with you, but the way our relationship is, I don't know if it'd be a good idea. I don't want mixed signals, wrong messages, because I have a person at my house. And so
I mean, clearly there are no mixed signals right now, considering he's practically got a necklace around his neck, and
it's a purely platonic friendship between us.
And there's like this whole like kiss on his cheek.
I'm doing.
I thought he got a new tattoo.
Each other make each other's Tinder profiles and stuff.
I thought that he got a new tattoo. I'm like, I'm doing. What was
Chris
that?
Has no tattoos to begin with, so that
wasn't for me.
I'm pulling out the Bill Clinton. Like, I swear I did not have sex with that woman. Like,
pull out the Shawn Michaels. I did not have sex with that young intern.
It's like that.
As a matter of fact, I was up
that's like
all night.
It's like I'm dropping off loose. Salena can get the bed. I'm taking the floor. It's perfect. Yeah.
I'm still open to the fact that there might be a poltergeist in my apartment, so that could also.
Wait, a poultrygeist?
Poltergeist.
I said poltergeist.
Yeah, there's some poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, there's some mysterious.
It's a turkey.
There's some mysterious creature that keeps attacking my neck. I don't know. It's fucking.
You got your own vocabulary, Salena?
Yeah, I make up my own words. I tend to talk like I'm dyslexic. I'm not dyslexic, but sometimes I mix.
Jesus Christ.
You know, honestly, that was something I was picking on my dad about earlier today, because my dad actually is dyslexic, and I am probably not the nicest person in the world sometimes.
Do you think?
So
Nobody here is.
So one thing I can say about my dad, like my dad is borderline one of the worst fathers in the world sometimes. Not as bad as Junior's.
Yeah. Or me.
And my dad wasn't
But-
the best either.
But where my dad's concerned, like my dad's one of those guys where it'd be like when we were little and like, well, you know, like Robert was raised around 4 women.
Okay, you keep asking like I remember these
Robert.
things. I don't remember that shit. Like,
My brother was raised around 4 women.
Okay.
So like for him, he needed that male figure. He needed a male role model.
Yeah.
So, like, whenever he was around our uncles, whenever, like, he was around this idiot who can never remember anything.
yeah,
Like-
no man should look to me as a role model because like
You were his older cousin.
do.
Like, he did.
As a young man myself.
I'll tell him
Wow.
when my son is of age, he's not talking to his dad all about girls because I don't know shit about women. Like Christian, don't do things like write them poetry, buy them fucking flowers because trust me, they hate it. Like,
But, like, where Robert was concerned, like, he needed that male figure.
Mm-hmm.
Our grandfather died when he was 4. Like, our other grandfather died before we were born.
Okay.
Our dad would always make the statement, oh, yeah, I'll pick them up this weekend. I'll pick them up this weekend. This weekend comes.
Mhm.
I just don't feel like getting them.
yeah,
Can you just like kiss the kids and tell them I love them
Wow.
and shit to our mom? And our mom would sit there and she'd be like, "You do realize like now I'm going to have to deal with the aftermath of this."
Yeah.
Which,
Right,
of
right.
course, like did not help what she was going through in
Right.
her own personal head
Right.
and shit. So where that was concerned, like it took a really big toll where he was concerned. Took a really big toll where I was concerned a lot of times. And like
Mm-hmm.
he wants to say like he was this great father and he was this great human being. Our uncle, his brother-in-law, passed away this past October. They did the funeral for him. It was beautiful. Beautiful funeral. And my father is the father of 5 children. I'm the youngest. I have 4 older siblings.
You're the baby.
So I like told Robert, I'm like, you have to go. And he's like, I'm not going. I'm like, you have to go. All of our siblings are going to be there. And he's like, so? I'm like, Dad's going to be there. He's like, so? I'm like, don't go for anyone else, but what has our aunt ever done to you that was so wrong? Be there for her.
Yeah.
Because out of all, my father's like the oldest boy, 3rd oldest child of 8 kids.
That's me. 8. I mean, I'm 7, but
okay.
it's a big family.
Yeah, but he's like the oldest boy, 3rd oldest kid of all of his siblings. His sister, the one whose husband passed away, she is the one directly above him, sibling-wise, and probably his best friend in this entire freaking world. So she was in our lives predominantly more than any of his other siblings. And she, like when our mother passed away, she was the only one who was there along with our oldest brother. She would go with our dad to like court, like where we were concerned. We would go to her house. She would remember things. She got me like a card and like a gift and stuff when I graduated high school. Gave me like, she knew I liked to read. She was clearing out all the books in her house. She put aside like some of the best freaking books, gave them to me.
About?
My aunt.
Okay, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
understand the story's gotten so
funerals,
sidetracked.
man. Yeah, no, funerals are so friggin' rough. Like, I always, like, dread going to them, but, you know, you usually don't regret it.
But, like,
you're glad you went.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, she's never forgotten us in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for Robert to say, like, he didn't want to go to this funeral, like, I was pretty pissed off at him.
Yeah.
So, I was like, don't go for anyone else. Go for her. Because she has been there her entire freaking lives. And he's like, you know, you are actually right.
Yeah.
So he did wind up going. And he did wind up staying for as long as he could before he had to go to work. Because he did have to work that day. And we wound up getting like a sibling picture done, a picture with our dad, all this stuff. And our dad made a comment to one of his sisters. He's like, yeah, I raised 5 really good kids, didn't I? My sister was the first one to like open her mouth and she's like, you didn't raise us.
Good.
Our mothers did. And the aunt who was taking the picture, she pulled my sister to the side. She's like, I'm so happy you said that, so I didn't have to, like, deck him. Because she's like, I know he didn't raise you guys.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come up on it. And any goodbyes you gotta say in peace and love and snap.
I don't have anything to say.
Bye. This is Salena the First.
Salena the First.
Chris called me that, and I was like, I like that. I sound like a friggin' czar.
Salena Astaki.
Well, I said to her at one point, like, you do want to have different memories with people, and as much of a pain in the ass as she's been in my life, there's a lot of firsts that we've had, like a lot of things that we did together.
So, Chris, would you really do anything for Salena?
Would you?
Not anymore.
Anything
I wanted
for
your
Selena's.
Yeah.
You're gonna take this bumper?
I would love
stick
to
it up
talk
on
to
your
you.
wall. Put down, this bumper was torn off by the bus of Selena's.
No, but I wanted to tell you, Lewis, I would love to talk about the Mercury retrograde with you sometime. I'm into astrology and stuff. And planets.
I stopped believing that shit when it said, like, there's so many stars that said, Chris, you're supposed to be with this girl, and I'm like, that didn't turn out right. Fuck the stars. The stars lied to us.
Oh man, but yeah, I'll be looking forward to that too whenever the time comes. I'm open to just about any conversation. If it's anything I don't know, I just sit back and
Listen,
absorb.
Learn something new every day.
Anything that's so.
All right, well, it was really nice. Thank you, Chris. I feel so much more depressed after listening to you listen to how horrible the world is and bleak. My faith in humanity was restored this morning, but I don't know about so much. I kind of I don't know how I feel about humanity anymore.
That's my job. Just if you think you're having a good day, I can tear it down
just
so
call
fast.
Chris.
Exactly.
He'll remind you what a shit.
I usually have a really good day until I look at my phone and it says Chubbo has sent you a text message.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, fuck, what does he want?
Yep.
And then so it always starts off the same. Hey, what's up? 9 million words later.
Mm-hmm.
Then another text, 9 million words later.
I make it fun at work.
The same thing. He's just like.
Then
saying
another
it in a
text,
different
9 million words later.
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay. Just okay.
I love being the girl that talks.
He's the girl in the cousin relationship.
What's funny because remember back in the day with text messages, they actually had like a texting fucking plan. They would count your minutes. So I figured, if you had a conversation, you would type out like 100 fucking words. And Susan's the kind of person where it's like, for this month you have 200 fucking letters before your texting plan runs up, and you're like, hello Susan, how you been? Okay. Like you burnt up one message for the fucking letter K. Like how you been? NP. Like motherfucker. So tell me an actual conversation. Like
No,
K.
what's really annoying is because my dad paid for my cell phone from the age of 16 until the age of 29.
Okay.
So now
Boy,
I'm paying for our fucking cell phone bill.
So wait, so your dad paid for your cell phone for 13 years?
Yep.
Noise.
Oh man, I feel so bad for you. Like,
No, I'm not saying anything bad about that.
It's not depressed enough for Chris. He needs something depressing to.
It's like, hold on.
I took over the cell phone bill.
So you got a free cell
this
phone.
past
You free
October.
cell phone. Your brother got a free car, and I had to catch a bus and walk 5 miles in the snow to work. And
Sorry, not enough depression in your story,
my God.
Susan.
back in my day.
I'm not even saying it about freaking depression. I'm saying like my dad paid my cell phone bill. Okay,
Right.
yes. I can say where he has done good
There you go.
to some degree,
That's like the bare minimum.
but it's like the bare minimum because my dad like sucked in a lot of other ways
yeah.
where it should have mattered more.
He never got stuck on a ride.
He did not get stuck on a ride. That is true. Because he would never go on the ride in the first place.
I mean, if you want to compare bad fathers, talk to Junior. Like,
I don't compare how bad fathers are. I just know what I've dealt with,
yeah.
and I know how much I am like disappointed in my father.
Huh.
So where that's concerned, yes, he paid for my phone until I was 29, and then for about 2 months he didn't pay the freaking bill. The phones were shut off. I didn't know he didn't pay the bill. So his phone was shut off, my phone was shut off. I saw him, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, if you want to switch it into my name, let me know and I can take up paying the bill. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, but why are the phones shut off in the first place? And he's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Robert went and told me, he's like, yeah, Dad gave $8,000 to this skanky little 18-year-old who keeps like coming by, who he used to date her grandmother.
Good for him.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, well, technically he didn't give it to her. She stole the numbers off of his credit card.
This just turned into a hood book.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, what does this girl look like?
So has COVID taught you anything?
Yeah, kill a bitch for fucking with your father.
Blame it on COVID.
Blame it on COVID. No, COVID pretty much just taught me, like, you need to, like, do more.
Yeah. That's all it is, It's like another year has passed by. I mean, I got a birthday come up in a couple months. Another year older. Jen's getting older. Everyone is just like, hey, guys, you see more friends dying, more families dying. You see more businesses being shut down, more fucking jobs being lost, and like just.
What else is dying? Who else is dying, Chris?
Actually, a friend.
Fish, right? Remember the fish? You talked about the fish. They're dying too.
That seaspiracy will fuck you up. Holy shit! That makes me never want to eat a fish sandwich again. That's just like.
I don't think I want to know.
It's fucking brutal. I legit don't want to eat fish right now after seeing that documentary.
I mean, I don't like fish to begin with, so it's. It probably won't affect me in the same way it would.
After a year of this shit, like you realize like just we're all fucked. So what you can't do anything, but what you can do is just like drink a bottle of Jack and
Chris,
just laugh.
I have an idea for your outro song for your podcast. Like the Usher song, Confessions. This is my confessions. Just when I thought I said all I can say, my chick on the side.
There you go.
And that's
These are
Chris.
my depressions.
These are my depressions.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying from COVID and don't eat fish sandwiches anymore. This is my depression.
Oh yeah.
And the murder hornets.
All you can do is say,
Eeyore is the producer.
Hey, it's like now. It's like, hey, drink. Weed is legal. Ask Salena. She knows about fucking weed being legal.
Oh yeah, this is something that I can get happy about.
Exactly. Yeah. Just Salena knows about weed.
Speaking of weed, I'm about to go.
Yeah, actually, that's something
Happy
that I learned.
plants.
Don't go anywhere near like the murder hornets. And
I thought all hornets are murder hornets.
Do they know weed is legalized?
Apparently, murder hornets are like yay big,
So.
and they just like they don't die.
All right, so.
Oh, that makes
just
sense.
kill you.
Because regular hornets, they're not like bees where if they feel threatened, they'll sting you. No. That's why I said
Bees are suicidal.
Yeah.
That's what their problem is. They're suicidal.
I
They
think
sting you, their entire organs are coming out.
Right. Cause what I've known before you mentioned, I just learned a new thing. I didn't know about the murder hornets, but just regular hornets prior. I already knew that they're the types that like to go after anything for no reason. You'd be like, this is a wonderful day. Oh, you a human?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck you up. What did I do? Did I stump on the wrong flower? Nah, you just exist.
Well, it's been a year, and hopefully,
so I can only imagine a murder hornet is like.
hopefully we'll fucking make it to year 2.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
What I can say is like my outro though is basically what Al normally says. Help your like local neighborhoods. Like put money in towards what is it? Al says
your local communities.
Help your local communities.
Right.
But, anybody's listening, thanks for making it this long. And I've always fucking said I don't give a shit. Like, we've got some listeners, not a lot. We're not consistent. This isn't a fucking full-time job. But like, especially this economy is getting worse. Even in fucking May of 2021, I can't imagine by summer how bad summer's gonna get. Like, But yeah, that's why I said, so don't want people's fucking money, don't need people's money, and I'm not going to keep begging strangers to pay my fucking bills because there's a lot of people out there, especially right now, May of 2021 versus May of 2020, that even more people are out of fucking work, and more people have no fucking money, more people can't feed their kids and shit. So I'm fortunate enough during this entire year, this entire pandemic, every Friday I get a paycheck. My job annoys me, but I get a fucking paycheck. There's tens of millions of people that this coming Friday that don't get a paycheck. That they don't know where the fucking next meal is coming from. They don't know how they're going to fucking buy their kids school clothes or pay their fucking rent. So because I am fortunate enough to have these things, I don't want a stranger's fucking money. So give it to somebody who needs it because I don't. So, but hey, it's been a year. Hopefully, he said 57 episodes. Let's try to go fucking see if we can hit 100.
Love, peace, and booty grease.
So, and we're out.